What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Comically Boston. I'm your host, Big Cam, and today we're going to be talking about Secret Invasion, Episode 5, Harvest. But before we get into that, let's talk about a little bit of news that came out this week. A new poster for the show Invincible on Amazon Prime came out, and it says it's coming soon. We all know animation takes forever to make, and Season 1 of Invincible was actually phenomenal, so go check that out if you haven't. But yeah, a whole bunch of people in this bus all piled in. Looks like aliens, all types of people in here. So we'll see how good Invincible Season 2 is after that Season 1 finale was crazy. I mean, shit, all of Season 1, the first episode of Invincible, you're watching the whole episode and you're like, wow, this is going to be a crazy show. And then the way it ends, you're like, oh, this show's going to be like nothing I've ever seen before, or not what I was expecting from this first episode. So it goes in a completely different route as immediately after episode 1. Like the whole time I was like, oh, so this is Amazon Prime's Justice League, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, okay, no it's not. This is Invincible. This is a different story about a different kid. Also, we got a little bit of news. I thought it was going to be much later because James Gunn said it was going to be a while before Guardians 3 was on Disney+, but apparently not. That it will be a couple weeks out, August 2nd, Disney+, for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Also, I heard that we're going to be getting Amazing Spider-Man 2 on there as well. So we're going to have all of Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, all of Tobey's Spider-Man. We have Homecoming. All we need is Far From Home and No Way Home, and we got all the Spider-Man movies on Disney+. Well, and we need Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse, which is also, I heard, Across the Spider-Verse will be out on like a rent, or you can buy it on Amazon Prime soon, so that's exciting stuff. I think that's all happening in the first week of August, so super excited about that. August 3rd, Super Mario to Peacock, so stay tuned for that stuff. All these movies I saw in theaters for the first time, once they come out at home, I start just binging them again. You know, finally getting to see it for the second time and whatnot. But this week as well, we got a new image from Spider-Man 2 of Venom. And yeah, he just looks great in rain. I wonder if he'll be a playable character. That would be cool. But you know, if not, we'll still get the black suited Peter, so that will be worth it, if not. Also this week, Barbenheimer. So Barbie's out, I believe today's Thursday, so yeah, I think Barbie's out tonight. Maybe even came out last night, but we got Barbenheimer, 7/21/23. Today is July 20th. So tomorrow will be the first official day that they're out. So I might even go see, I think, one of them tomorrow. I don't know if I got the double feature in me to see 5 hours of movies in the same day. Plus, if I see Oppenheimer first, I know I'm going to be like, okay, I'm going to need a day or two to think about this. So I think I might go see Oppenheimer tomorrow. Comment below. What are you going to go see first? Are you going to go see Barbie or Oppenheimer, or both? But personally, I think Oppenheimer is going to be insane. It is currently sitting at a 96 overall Rotten Tomatoes score. For Barbie, it's getting a 93% on Rotten Tomatoes. So shout out Margot Robbie and them. I think that movie will be much more shocking than we think. I think there's going to be maybe a twist in it, or I would like there to be a twist in it, but if there's not, I still think it's going to be an entertaining comedy. The cast that they have in that is quite ridiculous. I'm excited to see Shang-Chi, Simu Liu as Ken, so, and plus Ryan Gosling as Ken. He's out to set the bar that Ken is, his story needed to be told. So as much as it's a Barbie movie, I think it's going to be the story of Ken, really, and how he's underappreciated. I've also been doing an X-Men movie rewatch, all those movies coming to the channel soon. Just recently, X-Men 2000 and Ang Lee's Hulk from 2003 came out on the channel. I went back and I started from the beginning. You know, I started a Marvel rewatch at 2008 with Iron Man, and then I was like, you know what? I kind of, all these images of Hugh Jackman came out. It was Wolverine. I was like, I kind of got to go back and watch all these X-Men movies. I haven't watched them since Marvel movies have been coming out. You know what I mean? So as soon as Marvel movies started coming out with Marvel, all the Fox stuff, I kind of was like, you know, not really for me anymore. But I did it. Loved those movies as a kid. So I went back and I started watching all the X-Men's and all my favorite Wolverine movies. And I got all the way back up to The Wolverine with James Mangold That review will be coming to the channel soon, and that is a phenomenal movie. I really like that movie. A lot, there's some problems with it, but some people probably didn't like everything going on with that movie. But I loved the Japanese stuff, the Yakuza, all the hitmen over there in Japan that are coming after Wolverine. Oh, I ate that shit up. Plus the Nagasaki shit, like he was there when the bombs went off all of them years ago. Like he's such an old man, but he doesn't age. Like, oh, I fucking ate that shit up about Wolverine. But enough of that. Let's get into episode 5, Harvest of Secret Invasion. This show is so good, but this episode, it left a little bit to be desired. They killed off Talos. For those of you that haven't watched it, get out of here. If you watched last week, at the end of that episode, Talos got shot, left cliffhanger ending with just a body on the ground. Like, come on, man, we can't kill off Talos. And it seems like he's really dead, because he gets a funeral and everything in this episode. So let's go through and see what we got. But this episode starts with Fury gets the president to the ER. He whispers in his ear as he's passed out. I hope that message got through to the president not to trust Rhodey, because Rhodey's scroll ass is not very nice anymore. But Gravik gives a speech to all his men, and Pagan disagrees and starts questioning his authority, and Gravik roots arm poor Pagan right through the chest. Pagan's now dead. Woo! All the people, all his troops around him did not like that type of leadership. That will come back later. Gravik does send people to Vara's house to kill her, so Vara is now, in trouble because she didn't kill Fury under direct orders from Rhodey through Gravik. Rhodey shows up at the ER. Rhodey threatens Fury to release his Maria Hill tape, which he definitely is going to do, and does. But Fury has a gun to his head. He's like, "What makes you think I won't blow apart your scroll ass right now?" And he goes, "Well, you won't, because you don't want to die." Because Fury's got a gun pointed to his head too. Who is this guy that is Rhodey's, security? He's like in a sling. He's holding a gun. Like, what kind of security member is slinged up? Like, it makes no sense. And we never saw him get injured, I don't think. So what is this? The sling? Like, what is this? So Fury, before dipping up out of there, pistol whips Rhodey, and the way he does it, just kind of like, he does it, bang. He kind of just, just kind of butts him in the side of the face with the gun. And the way he did it made me giggle. It's just like this old man didn't want to beat up Don Cheadle, but wanted to sell it, so he just kind of there's little things like that in this show that something happens and you're like, oh, you're showing your age there, because he's supposed to be like this badass agent getting out of the way, but he's like, it cuts to him and he's like, like this one scene where he's dipping the police in this episode, and he's like walking down the stairs. I'm like, if the police were coming, wouldn't you be hustling a little bit faster? He's just kind of like gently being like, don't hurt yourself, get down these stairs. Okay, we made it, I'm like, oh god, these 70-year-old hips. It reminds me of The Irishman with Robert De Niro kicking that dude on the curb, and you're like, wow, he's supposed to be 30. That was clearly a 75-year-old man kicking that dude. But the intro rolls, then Sonya shows up at the director's office of ISS, and she's like, oh, scrolls are closer than they appear. Shoots him in the hand and leg, and his security comes in. Sonya, what did you just do? And she's like, well, there's no laws against shooting scrolls, so unless you want me to, take my own preference into hand, you're going to tell me the information I need. And she gets the information to go to the doctor's house. We'll meet back up with her later. Every time Sonya's on the screen, she is just, Olivia Colman just steals the show. She's so great. Definitely not a Skrull, that one. She does not like them Skrulls, and she's part of MI6. She's just badass. Really is. We cut back to Beto and the Skrulls. Gravik takes a phone call and gets jumped. They put a bag over his head. They beat him up. They start beating on him. He's underneath the bag. He turns into Skrull form. Maybe that's because his life was threatened or something, or maybe he just wanted to. I don't know. But he turns into Skrull. He beats up this whole group. It was 1-on-6 or something. He beats up everybody. Fucking asks them if they want none. Who wants some? You want some? You want some? You want none? None of you want none. Fucking, so beats everybody's ass. But we still don't see him, like, we saw in the trailers that they keep releasing these trailers. Stop releasing trailers for the finale of this shit. I know you want more and more viewership, but, like, the more trailers that come out, they're just giving away everything that's happened in these episodes. Luckily, we know one shot from the finale, really, maybe 2 or 3, but, like, most of them we don't know, so I really, really hope this finale sticks to the landing, but you really don't know what's going to happen. The last couple episodes I didn't really love, but there's one part in this episode I loved, and we'll get to that in a second. So after Gravik gets jumped, he kills Beto, and then we cut back to Fury. Fury goes to a safe house, but Gaia has already broken in to meet him there, so Fury comes around the corner like, who's in here? And it's Gaia. So Talos has really died, Fury tells her, and Gaia's like, Talos lost, and Fury's like, he didn't lose, he chose the path of struggle, which is, it was very deep. Every, like, monologue scene where Fury's, like, talking to somebody and it's, like, great emotion, it feels great, but it also, like, the words are great, but I don't know, the acting, the shots, they just feel like they could have been done somewhat better, more impactful, more meaningful. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Fury says to Gaia, she can't let her grief paralyze her when this is her time, right? So then she goes and she says Gravik was looking for something called the Harvest, which is the title of this episode. So by the end of this episode, we find out what the Harvest is and where it is and who has it and why Gravik wants it. Gaia says she needs to bury Talos. Fury tells her, go to Priscilla. Priscilla will help you bury her. So Gaia then takes off to Priscilla's house. Fury goes to Finland. Sonya ends up at Dr. Dalton's lab after getting the information from her director. She torches the lab, and then Victor, which is the doctor's wife, another Skrull, grabs the Skrull wife, and he's like, I won't let you do this. Gravik's mission must be handled, something like that, and she's like, Sonya talks some shit and then shoots him right in between the eyes with, like, as he's holding somebody. So, like, if the guy just pulled the woman right here, she would have shot the woman in the face, but instead she pulls the gun right between the eyes. Blood goes all over the poor doctor. Whew. Ass turns into a Skrull. It's a mess. But Sonya, badass as always. She's really a killer, but she's also, like, an agent, so she's like, but they show a lot of violence in this show. I don't know why, but this show is very, very close to creeping the line into some bloody, gory stuff. It really is. We've seen her cut off a finger, shows the finger, right? Like, we've seen Sonya do some dirty, dark stuff. Gaia goes back to Priscilla's house, asks Priscilla if they could bury her. Then we cut back to Ritson. He's awake in the hotel. Rhodey's feeding him Gravik's plan, his bad, information. Fury's on his way to the airport. Gravik calls Fury. And Fury's like, talking shit, and he's like, oh, when did you think you were going to call? He goes, oh, you think you're one step ahead of me, old man? I want the Harvest. And if you deliver the Harvest, Gravik will call off his plan. Fury gets on a plane, sees Rick Mason, old Ricky Mace from, some people on the internet were like, I don't recognize him at all. He is the man from, I don't know if his first name's Rick, by the way. I know his name's Mason, but if he's Rick Mason, that could be Finn's sister from, if you guys know, from the Miles Morales video game. Rick Mason died in the Nuform reactor type deal, so I don't know if this is the same guy in the MCU. Maybe same name, but different role, because we don't see Finn or Miles in this. We just see him having, like, a little love affair with Miss Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow here, and clearly he's, a S.H.I.E.L.D. type guy that gets resources because he's getting Natasha a plane, now he's getting Nick a plane. So we see him, little cameo for the people, little Easter egg. Good to see him back. He probably thought he wasn't going to get another role ever, so good to have him back. Also, what I wanted to point out was Rick Mason, when he's on that plane, he's talking to Fury, he's wearing a Boston Red Sox hat. So a little shout out to the Boston people back home. I liked to see that little detail. I was like, I wonder if that actor's from Boston or something, because they're supposed to be in Finland. Why is he wearing a Red Sox hat? I don't know. Maybe the Red Sox are that famous of a brand all over the world, but Red Sox, baby. Shout out you. Gaia at the house talking to Priscilla, they do a prayer. They burn Talos, proper burial like a Viking, you know, set him on flame. Priscilla, Gaia doesn't know the prayer, so Priscilla says the scroll prayer for him. Then they talk in the house, the great monologue, and then Gaia and Priscilla get shot at. Then they have to go run, defend the house. They're back to back. They make a really good team. Some great action right there. I loved seeing them two work together. Then Fury, we cut back to getting off the plane. He's in the airport, and he's using, like, facing Mission Impossible cloak, but it is the tech called Widow's Veil from Black Widow. We've also seen Sharon Carter in Falcon Winter Soldier use this. Not Sharon, yeah, Sharon Carter. And we've seen Natasha use this way back in Captain America Winter Soldier. So, good to see this tech still around, still working. Nick Fury posed as this white man coming through Finland. Gets in the car with Sonya, which is hilarious. Sonya's bumping like Skepta or something, some UK rapper. Hilarious. Fury's like, is this what we're doing? She goes, oh, this is what we're doing. And she's like, boom, boom. You know, like, you just see, like, Sonya bumping. Like, what is this? Like, it's really, like, it's unnecessarily funny. Fury and Sonya have this whole conversation. So he tells Sonya that Rhodey's a Skrull. Tells Sonya that Gravik was a part of the team that went in after the Battle of Endgame, which was apparently called the Battle of Earth. So that's news. So maybe that will be something that gets referred to in the future. The Endgame battle will now be called the Battle of Earth. Okay. And then I guess the Infinity War would be the Battle of Wakanda. I get it. I guess, but Wakanda's also on Earth, so I don't know. I guess, why isn't it called the Battle of Thanos 2? I don't know. He called it the Battle of Earth, and he says that a team of Skrulls went in to get harvest DNA because all Avengers spilt blood on that battlefield, so they went in and harvested DNA. And that's what the harvest is all this DNA from Avengers, which doesn't really make sense. Why wouldn't they be like, oh, we isolated, this is Carol's DNA, this is Groot's, this is, you know, why wouldn't they have all these different DNAs? Instead they have it in kind of like this one file. We'll talk more about that in a sec, but Sonya asked Fury, you know, why aren't we going to call your friends? And he's like, well, personal, I need to do it myself, you know, the only power I got was the one between my brain, you know, between my ears, given to me by my mother. Fury's finally coming back to the Fury that we know and love, and you know, because Gravik was a part of that team that was harvesting the DNA is probably where Gravik got the idea for the Super Skrull machine and why he wanted to use the DNA to enhance Skrulls when, you know, I don't know why the government's always trying to enhance soldiers. Hasn't that not worked out in the past? Abomination, you know, like Nick Fury. I get Steve Rogers worked out, but Red Skull, you know, it's not worked out multiple times. Winter Soldier, like, why do they keep doing it? Probably because they want to get to Red Skull in Harrison Ford's Thaddeus Ross. So stay tuned for that. That will probably be coming in Captain America Brave New World. But they go to Fury's grave, and his grave is in Finland. He's like, hey, I got a bunch of these. Dead men need options. He pulls this vial out of the grave from blowing on it. It's like this like air, voice, breath activated thing, but it's like this little bullet vial of something. And so what is this harvest? Like, is it all of their DNA? Is it Carol's DNA? Like, why would all of the Avengers DNA be in this one vial? It doesn't make much sense, but this vial is what Gravik wants. So Fury walks into this little grave. We saw this image from like the first trailer where he walks into this cell and these little things on the wall. I love that he pulls his jacket, his little trench coat, he pulls the eye patch, pulls a gun, all from 3 different containers. They probably could all fit in one, but he had to pull them from 3 different for some reason. He had to be like, yeah, well, I'm fancy. Each one of them, even my eye patch gets its own little container inside its own container. So we finally get to see Fury suit back up. He has his eye patch, he has his trench coat, he has a little beanie, and he's going to be back fighting, kicking ass. That's where the credits roll for this episode. We have the finale coming up. We have this one shot from the trailer where we see a Skrull hulked out. Is he got Hulk DNA from the harvest, or is this just Cull Obsidian DNA? Either way, this Skrull is a Skrulk, and he is Skrulking out. and he's beating up old poor Nick Fury there. So stay tuned for next episode for that. I cannot wait to see this finale. I really hope they stick the landing. But the biggest questions heading into the finale: who did Nick Fury call at the end and say, "It's time, let's finish this"? I think it was just a call back to Fury, or a call back to Gravik. Just like Gravik called him earlier and was on the phone with him asking for the harvest, I think it was Nick Fury just calling Gravik back and be like, "It's time, let's finish this. Let's get the shit." Or was it, Carol? Was it an Avenger? Was it Hawkeye? Was it somebody? The cavalry is coming to help him out. I don't know. I think it's probably likely that we'll get a cameo or two in this last episode. But if not, I'm not going to get my hopes up. I think also it could just be Fury versus Gravik. And Fury's underranked, but he's also going to have Gaia and Priscilla with him. So, I don't know. Maybe Priscilla will die in this episode, or the finale. I do think Fury won't die, obviously, because he's in the Marvels, so that kind of ruins it. Kind of ruins the stakes of him, because you're like, he's not going to die. And if he does, I think possibly he might be a Skrull this whole time, and he was maybe Soren. That would be a little crazy reveal. Will we find out where the real Rhodey is? How long has Rava been Rhodey? That would be an interesting question I need answered. If Soren isn't Nick Fury, and there isn't a second Nick Fury, where is Soren? What happened to Soren? Will we ever see how she dies? What's the deal with that? Will Gravik die at this end of this conclusion? Probably, because if he's left alive, he probably will be trouble. So I see him probably dying. Will Rava the Skrull that's playing Rhodey die? Maybe, probably not. I hope they defeat these Skrulls and they get the humans back type deal. And will there be any Avengers in the final cameo coming up in this finale? I don't know. I would love to see like Shang-Chi, but I think if we're going to see anyone, it would probably be Kamala Khan, Monica Rambeau, and Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers. So that's my predictions for the finale. Who do you think will be in the finale? Who do you think is going to die? Who do you think will not? Who do you think is going to be back? I don't know. I think overall I've liked the show so far. These last couple episodes haven't been as fulfilling as the first couple. Maybe I'm just really hurt that Talos died and not as hurt about Ross and Maria Hill, but also I still want conclusions about that. Was that Ross the Ross the entire time? What's the deal with Maria Hill? Like, we're just gonna kill Maria Hill like that? Come on. Like, the amount of people that have died in this series, just deaths that like don't feel good. Like deaths should never feel good, but like Tony Stark dying at the end of Endgame felt good because he had just sacrificed everything for everyone else, right? Like, it was a big, huge death that meant something to a lot of characters, where Maria Hill dying didn't mean anything to anyone, other than Fury, really, and he's hurt, but then he continues on his plan, like, he doesn't mourn, really, like, he just kind of continues on, and we don't really get a grave or anything, like, and just the way she died with, it was Fury that shot her, but it was Gravik the whole time, like, oh, man, like, these Skrulls are a real problem, and Talos was my favorite, and he's gone, so now I got Emilia Clarke, which is still the mother of dragons, so her and Priscilla together did have the best action sequence in this little series. But let's be honest, Olivia Colman's by far my favorite character in this show. She's just been, Sonya Spalsworth has just been a brutal killer, badass. Every time she's on the screen, my eyes are captivated, and she's hilarious. She's having such a good time being so evil, and I love every second of it. But comment below, what are your thoughts about Secret Invasion? Are you excited for Barbenheimer this weekend? Stay tuned for more movie reviews coming out your way, and I am so excited to go see Barbenheimer. Oh, I like that title so much more. Barbie or Oppenheimer? Nope, Barbenheimer. I'm going to see both, and I hope you guys do too. Comment below, hit my links in the description if you want to check me out on Letterboxd and check out all my movie reviews, and check out my scores that I'm leaving on there. And if you're a big movie buff, I can't recommend Letterboxd enough. It is a great app. Hit me up on Twitter if you have any questions for me, or Instagram. My links will be in the description below. Smash that like button, subscribe, hit that bell if you don't want to miss any future videos. I'm Big Cam, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.